Lecturer is our own Reverend Lelia Cutler. Miss Lelia?
Good morning. What a beautiful day. It's a wonderful opportunity to come together for spiritualism in our church. I think that's fabulous. This morning, I always ask Spirit to give me an insight on what I'm supposed to talk about. And they kept saying, what is your favorite principle? And I thought, well, you know what mine is, but I'm going to share with you a little bit, all right? My favorite principles are 1 and 2, because when I found spiritualism, I found infinite intelligence as the God image and not the one that I had been exposed to growing up in a Christian church. And for that reason, it has always been my favorite principle. And so knowing that the God energy is with each and every one of us all the time and in everything, it helps us be a part of the universe that we're residing in. In these days and times of experiencing so much violence and so much fear for the pandemic and illness and so on, it is comforting to me for us to know that infinite God is with each and every one of us. Now, we ask ourselves, why are we having so much violence in the world? That is my prayer every night. Please let there be a halt to all of this violence. Let us experience greater peace in our world. That's what our country is about. It's about seeking the peace. It's about being a part of a peaceful, democratic society. When we look at our choices of principles, yes, I believe in infinite intelligence, and I believe that the phenomena of nature is in everything, And so when I realize that that is my basic belief, then I look around me and I think, well, then why are so many people opting to take a violent? Why shoot somebody? I haven't been able to figure that one out. And is there ever a news report that comes on where somebody isn't killed or stabbed or shot or something? We need to realize that this country is based on people coming to this country because they were immigrants and they were coming from other countries that transported them. And when we go back and we look at our ancestry, I go back to the Mayflower and the first young lady off the boat, but I'm her 11th generation descendant. And so when we feel that connection with people who have come here for a greater peaceful world, we find that that's how we have grown to what we are today. We are a world that survives in a mass understanding of do anything you want to. And if I did everything I wanted to, it might be a little different. But anyway, we find that it's something that we want to focus our attention on. And when you look at what your favorite principle is, a lot of times when I get to the favorite principles, I want to come down to number 6, because number 6 is the golden rule. And if we do unto others as we would have them do unto us, we wouldn't be shooting anybody. And at least I don't want to be shot. But anyway, we would be looking around us and saying, where can we find the peace? The peace that it's there, it's around us, it's in natural law, it's something that we can experience if we just allow ourselves to. Ralph Marston told us, excuse me, he says it is only when a seed grows that it can produce more seeds. It is only when you express joy and abundance in your own life that you can help others to know joy and abundance in their lives. And if that's what we're seeking, peace, with joy and abundance for our lives and for those around us, then we need to understand that we're connected to a wonderful God energy that can help us with that, can help us be a part of a peaceful world, of a world that is supporting all those that come to our shores who are seeking that peaceful existence. Now we have problems with immigration, and we have 500 immigrant children down across the southern border. And what crosses my mind when they talk about that? Who's feeding them? I don't want 500 hungry children down there. And when we understand that we are a part of the solution, not a part of the problem. A part of the solution is understanding how we interact with spirit and with God in our world today. Yes, we have to realize that we are a part of the solution to all of these problems that are being broadcast to the world. Now, we understand that the pandemic has been here for a year and it's not over yet. But we find that we are working with other people to resolve these issues. We want to be a seed for the growth of the good, not a growth of the violent and the anti-good. We want to be a part of that which is growing for the greater wonder and awe of the world today. That's where we are. That's what we're a part of. And we find that when we look around us and we accept the fact that as we look at our principles and we understand, we're coming up on the anniversary of modern American spiritualism, the 31st. There's going to be some wonderful, celebrations on that day, and it's going to last all day long from what I understand. I know that they have asked me to work the seance at night. I'm just not real sure about everything that we're going to be involved in, but it's a celebration of the birth of our basic understanding, our oneness with each other, our oneness with God. It's a celebration that comes up once a year on the 31st of March, because that's when we had our first communication. And I was reading in the magazine that I just received that I've always called him Charles Rosner, but actually his name was Charles Crossmer. So the fact that the spelling did not get across properly, that's okay. We know the energy of that spirit that went to the spirit side of life and said, I've got to let people know what happened. I can't let my family think that I just disappeared. I can't let my family grow up without knowing what happened. And so he had to communicate with those on the earth plane. Now, it wasn't that this is the first communication, because ancient spiritualism has been there for centuries. But this is the first modern American communication of a soul telling us exactly how he crossed to that spirit side of life, that he had been shot by a family called Bell for the sum of $500. Now, when you think about $500 was in 1848 compared to what it would be today, be millions. But we find out that, he just needed to let us know that he hadn't just disappeared. He had 5 children, and he wanted them to know that their father had not just disappeared on them, that he had been murdered. And so when we look at these solutions to what's going on in the world today, then that comes back and lets us go to our principles and say, yes, I believe God is in everything, and God is helping us to understand the fact that we can change our vibration and go to that world of spirit, and we can communicate with those who are left on this plane of life. I don't know about you, but I communicate every day. When I walk into my home, I say, hello, ghosties, how are you? And so when we communicate with those who are around us and who are drawn to us, we find that it is a wonderful living example of the promotion of our soul to higher levels. And that one with God is a great part of that. My favorite principle, it always comes up in that way. And so when we look at the principles and we look at what we truly believe as a philosophy of life, because we're living it. If we believe it, we're living it. And if we look at those principles and we say, I am truly living what I believe in these principles. I believe that there's, that eighth one, the doorway to reformation is never closed. Well, if we have fallen off of our little pedestal sometimes and have created some distance or something with another person, we can correct that. We can correct those things. We can spread our joy and our abundance to the world that we live in, and we can spread it to that spiritual world that gathers to us each and every day and every moment of life. When someone asked me, as I said before in a previous lecture, what is my definition of spiritualism? I just say it's life. It's the breath we breathe, because it is. It's the understanding and how we interact with each other in this philosophy of life. It is what we are. We express spiritualism each time someone sees us and they know, oh, that person's a spiritualist, or that person's a minister, or that person has talked to me about communication with those who have gone before. Because if we looked around us, it wouldn't just be those who have accepted spiritualism as the sole unit of what we believe. It would be much larger. It would be in the millions in this country, because is there a single soul that hasn't experienced something? When someone passes to the spirit side of life, did they feel a hand on their shoulder? Did they feel a little tingle in their forehead? Did they feel a tingle down the spine? Because we know that those people come in around us and they want us to know that they're still alive. I'm alive and well. I'm in the spirit realm, and I am progressing in the spirit realm. And that's what everyone that comes to me wants me to understand. And I want you to understand it just like I do. We find that as we interact with those from the spirit side of life, we grow in our understanding of progress and what it takes to be a better person, and to spread that joy and abundance around us and with everyone that we meet. There are times when I sit down and I think, okay, what have I not done today that I was supposed to? It's usually call somebody. It's getting in touch with someone who's still on this plane of life. And it's like, there are times when I call and I just leave a message. I just wanted to check on you and make sure you're okay. And I do that with my family. I don't get in touch with them enough. I know that as I try to communicate with them, that they are well, and they would let me know if they weren't. But the people around us, my family is the church family, and you know that. It isn't those cousins that live in North Carolina. My family are the people that I've been around for the last 50 years. And you're a part of it, because as I have interacted with those from the Memorial Spiritualist Church, which used to be the Christian Metaphysical Chapel when I first joined, but the Memorial Spiritualist Church, we went back to the original name. And those that I have existed with and worked with and played with and had good times with and meditated with, those are the families that we build on and that we grow and that we share our joy and our abundance with. Those are the people that we enjoy being around. Those are the people that come into our lives for a reason. They are there to help us to understand the progression of life. Yes. And if you have chosen other principles in here, there's so many that there's a definition of religion, and there's a definition of what spiritualism is to us. We have the definitions. They're in our hymnals, and I pulled up an old hymnal. And when I did that, I thought, I remember the old songs. And when I was flipping through here, I came across one that I thought, okay, that's appropriate for what we're believing now. That's wonderful. And it's onward and upward, and we find ourselves the the prayer of faith is a song that we used to sing in our churches. And we would sing this song, particularly before the healing service or something of that kind. And it says, God is my help in every need. God does my every hunger feed. God walks beside me, guides my way through every moment of this day. And that hymn just kind of connects with the idea of God being with us all the time. It connects with the understanding that we're special. You know, spiritualists are special in this world. Other people look at us, they think we're a little odd, but that's okay. Being a little odd is a good thing, okay? And I know I've had that experience, but ever since I've found spiritualism, I don't really care. You know, if people think I'm a little odd, that's good. That's a good thing. Okay. And it helps us to be who we are. And it helps us, thank you, Marianne. Okay. I feel like sometimes there's a feeling that we're searching for something that isn't there. Well, no, we don't need to do that. We need to realize that we're in the midst of that which is right here for us. We're in the midst of what we can do to help other people understand the communication and understand the basic belief system of spiritualism. Because each time they see us, they see spiritualism. You know, if I go to the church, and we're hoping to get to church by April, but may not, who knows? It depends on the board and how they vote and when they're going to open it. But if we can go and we can be a part of this growing phenomena of spiritualism in the world today, you know, it didn't just start and stop. It did one time. You know, the first church did not hang around that long, but the fact that we started again in 1893 and we're still going, we're still progressing, we're still a part of this growing, wonderful philosophy and religion of spiritualism. And I should say in a science too. There are those who study the science side of spiritualism, and they teach me stuff, you know, because that was never my strong point in school. But we find that I love the philosophy and the belief and carrying it forward every day in my life. That's something that I truly love. And it's something that I hope that other people do too. But every time they see me or they see you, they say, oh, there goes that spiritualist, you know, and you represent spiritualism to them and how we live our lives and who we are and what we do. You know, as I look around and I see Sue and Lori and Ken and Rebecca and Joanne, I see people who are expressing their belief in this basic religion that we have. So when we're thinking about that, I'm going to go back to Ralph Larson for a minute, because it says, what have you always wanted to know, always wanted to have, always wanted to do, and always wanted to be? It is never too late to honestly answer that question and to answer it with all the colorful detail and passion that it deserves. Let's be who we are basically. Let our favorite principle shine forth to other people around us. Yes, it's a beautiful and unique gift to life that we have found. Never stop reaching for the best that you can imagine, for when you fulfill your highest possibilities, you raise the whole world up with you. And if we can raise the whole world up with us and with our understanding of the peacefulness of the spirit side of life, in my prayers at night, I ask that those who have gone to the spirit world, whether it's from the pandemic or whatever reason, let them know the peace of spirit. Let them know that it is a wonderful, peaceful environment that they're going to experience there. So allow us to enjoy the joy and abundance of that knowledge. I ask you, and on this special Sunday that's just before our anniversary on the 31st, enjoy the wonderful joy and abundance of being a spiritualist, for you are spiritualism in the world today. Thank you.